because my colleagues seem to be
order,
consulting.
Honorable members, can we hear Senator Onyonka in silence, please?
Thank you. CS, I am happy to see you here today because I know you as a friend of mine and somebody I've worked with before. I'm actually going to ask a very simple question. If you remember when you started talking about the declaration of the provision of information, and you brought in the data protection law. When I walked in, that is actually what you said. You said that it's not possible for you to avail information so that we can know who has received social protection money. The reason for that, CS, is because the people of Kisii County that I represent have been asking me to give them the names of the people from the wards all the way to the sub-counties. How many people does the Kenyan government provide finances to or pay the monthly stipend to from all our wards and all our sub-counties? CS, I believe that the law doesn't stop you, because essentially the argument you're making is that you cannot disclose that information, and I believe that could also be the clever way on how you're trying to justify and say that you can't give us the names of the people who have gotten jobs ever since the government started signing the bilateral agreements. CS, we want that list. The reason why we want that list is that Kenyans, we have a bad habit. When we are given an opportunity to look for things which we call Kenyan, we only share them with our tribes and our friends, our cousins and our families. That list is the one which will show the equity, the fairness and the distribution of those jobs that you are giving out there. So the first question I wanted to ask you is, can you please promise this House that you are going to provide that list, and it will be a genuine list and it will be an honest list? Number two, and Madam Chair, I really got confused because when I came in, there was a wonderful question that Senator Kavindu had raised, and this had to do with the Kenyans because this is a matter she's held personally. The question I wanted to ask the CS is that does he think, and I could suggest that, Your Honorable, you could engage with CS, with the Chief Secretary Musalia. Do you think, or don't you think, that as we sit in this House, that it is actually us as a country, we are busy complaining how the American government has never compensated Kenyans who are injured from the bomb blast which took place. But the reality is, it is our responsibility as leadership in this country to make sure that this House can pronounce itself so that even when the Americans are busy in court trying to figure out this issue, don't you think that as Kenyans we need to compensate our people who died and the people who actually were blown up during that bomb blast which took place in Nairobi? I think, Madam Chair, Madam Speaker, we've been extremely irresponsible and casual the way we handle this matter. And lastly, I want to ask the CS, I hope he can...
Honorable Senators, you are actually supposed to ask just one question.
Thank you. I will stand down, Madam Chair. Thank you so much.
CS?
Thank you very much, Senator Onyonka, for your questions. In terms of provision of information, we have with us in our offices the payroll. And because it is important, and I totally agree with you, we don't want ghost people being paid. We want people to say, huyu mtu analipwa, atumfahamu ametoka wapi. I have no problem of any individual member of parliament in the National Assembly asking me, can you give me specific information, so that, because I can be able to give you that information so that you can be able to double check and ensure that those people that have been listed are within your area, so that you can also help me also identify, maybe some have passed away and they're still being paid, others are moved to other counties and they're still being paid under the name of your county, etc., etc. The other question that you asked about we don't have a problem giving the names of Kenyans who have gone overseas on these jobs. We have the list. So usually what happens that we dispatch them here. Our job is to get them the jobs. They go overseas, then we let diaspora now, because once they get into the plane and cross the Ethiopian border going north or Tanzania border going south, they become a diaspora issue, even as we follow up. But we are now keeping tabs to ensure we know where each Kenyan is and where they work, because any Kenyan who is in distress is important to us. And I can also ask my senior and brother Musalia Mudavadi, PCS, to provide that information. On the issue of our responsibility to also compensate, I think that's an issue that Parliament can engage in and bring it up as an issue, and so that it can also be budgeted for, and with proper research. So it can be budgeted for and money is put aside for that form of compensation by the Kenyan government. But in the meantime, we are going to push for them to get their rights from the United States and other areas where they should be paid. I submit, Madam Speaker.
Senator Cherarke, your second supplementary question, please.
Thank you, Madam